The story of the military investigation into the ghost planes of World War II begins in the tense skies over Europe and the Pacific, where radar screens flickered with unexplained blips and seasoned pilots reported aircraft that seemed to appear out of nowhere and vanish just as mysteriously, igniting a chain of classified reports, intelligence briefings, and urgent strategy meetings inside war rooms already strained by the largest conflict in human history. During the early 1940s, radar was still a relatively new and rapidly evolving technology, and operators, often young servicemen and women trained under immense pressure, found themselves tracking objects that moved at unusual speeds, defied expected flight paths, or appeared in restricted airspace without identification codes, leading commanders to fear advanced enemy technology, secret reconnaissance missions, or even coordinated deception tactics designed to exhaust defensive resources. In Britain, during the height of the air war, Royal Air Force radar stations occasionally detected unidentified returns approaching the coastline, prompting fighter squadrons to scramble only to find empty skies upon arrival, and similar accounts emerged from American forces in both the European and Pacific theaters, where bomber crews described glowing lights pacing their aircraft at high altitude, metallic silhouettes with no visible markings, and radar echoes that would split into multiple signals before fading entirely. Reports that were logged carefully by intelligence officers who could not afford to dismiss any anomaly in a war defined by technological leaps, as German forces deployed increasingly sophisticated aircraft and experimental weapons, including jet-powered fighters and long-range rockets. Allied analysts considered whether the ghost planes might represent prototypes being field-tested in secret, and in response specialized investigative units were tasked with compiling sighting reports, cross-referencing radar data, interviewing pilots, and studying captured enemy documents for any indication of stealth or electronic warfare capabilities beyond known specifications. In the Pacific, naval radar operators aboard aircraft carriers and destroyers recorded instances of fast-moving contacts skimming the edges of detection range, vanishing before interception, and at times appearing to shadow fleets during nighttime operations, raising fears of surprise attacks and forcing fleets to maintain heightened readiness that drained manpower and morale. The phenomenon was not limited to Allied forces, as German and Japanese records later revealed that they too experienced unexplained radar contacts and sightings of unidentified aircraft, leading to speculation that atmospheric anomalies, radar malfunctions, or even experimental friendly craft might be responsible, though wartime secrecy often prevented open information sharing that could have clarified misunderstandings. The investigation into these ghost planes unfolded across multiple layers of military bureaucracy, with signals intelligence experts analyzing the possibility of radar jamming or reflection distortions caused by temperature inversions in the atmosphere. Physicists consulted to explain how electromagnetic waves could bend under certain weather conditions, and engineers reviewing equipment calibration logs for faults that might create phantom echoes. Yet despite these rational efforts, some cases remain stubbornly unexplained, particularly those involving simultaneous visual and radar confirmation from multiple independent sources. One notable pattern involved nighttime encounters in which pilots reported luminous orbs maneuvering with apparent intelligence, pacing bombers for several minutes before accelerating away at speeds that seemed impossible for conventional aircraft of the era, accounts that were often met with cautious skepticism by superiors concerned about combat fatigue or misidentification of celestial bodies such as Venus, meteors, or flares. Yet when similar descriptions emerged from different squadrons separated by thousands of miles, the pattern demanded attention. Classified memoranda circulated among intelligence branches proposing various hypotheses, ranging from secret enemy drones and psychological warfare tactics to natural electrical phenomena similar to St. Elmo's fire, and while no conclusive evidence supported the existence of revolutionary enemy aircraft responsible for all sightings, the investigations themselves contributed to rapid improvements in radar filtering techniques, identification protocols, and inter-service communication procedures. As the war progressed and technology advanced, radar systems became more reliable and less prone to false returns, reducing the frequency of ghost contacts. Yet the legacy of those early unexplained incidents lingered, feeding both post-war curiosity and the emerging cultural fascination with unidentified flying objects, particularly as some wartime reports were declassified and entered public discourse. military historians examining archival records decades later found that many ghost plane incidents could likely be attributed to a combination of atmospheric interference, incomplete radar coverage, experimental friendly aircraft tested under strict secrecy, and the immense psychological strain placed on personnel operating in life-or-death conditions, where a fleeting reflection on a radar screen or a distant light in the sky could trigger alarm in a context where surprise attacks were a constant threat. Nonetheless, what makes the investigation into the ghost planes of World War II so compelling is not merely the question of what was seen, but how institutions built for warfare responded to uncertainty, demonstrating a blend of scientific inquiry, disciplined skepticism, and urgent preparedness that defined the era, as commanders balanced the need to avoid panic with the obligation to treat every anomaly as a potential threat. In reconstructed accounts of dimly lit operations rooms filled with cigarette smoke and the hum of electrical equipment, young radar operators tracking mysterious blips could not know whether they were witnessing cutting-edge enemy innovation or the quirks of nascent technology, yet their reports traveled up chains of command to intelligence analysts who parsed every detail, illustrating the vast machinery of wartime investigation. In retrospect, the ghost planes represent a convergence of fear, innovation, and the limits of perception at a time when humanity had taken to the skies with unprecedented speed but had not yet fully mastered the tools required to interpret what appeared there, and while no definitive evidence confirms that the ghost planes were anything beyond misidentifications or technological artifacts, the seriousness with which militaries pursued explanations underscores how high the stakes were in a conflict where control of the air often meant survival or defeat. Thus, the military investigation into the ghost planes of World War II stands as a testament to an era when the unknown in the sky could alter strategic calculations, mobilize research efforts, and shape the evolution of surveillance technology, leaving behind a shadowy chapter of wartime history that continues to intrigue researchers, historians, and storytellers alike, a reminder that in the crucible of global conflict even unexplained echoes on a radar screen could command the full attention of nations at war.